Oh, here we go. Season 1, Episode 4, Steele and Vance, and we've reached the point, Lynda, where we no longer need to pour the wine.
We're just
or the
into it.
We're starting. The chips are poured. What are they?
Sour cream and onion, Ripple. We have a big show today. We're talking about David Eby, the former housing minister, wannabe premier's plan to fix housing. Dropped a big list of things. We're going to talk about that. We're talking about the fact that you can now travel without doing the whole COVID restrictions. And our special co-host, Premier John Horgan, and we are talking everything from housing, high price of gas, his future, all kinds of stuff.
Legitimately a co-host on this show.
Yeah.
Like the back half of this program. Yeah. Set your PVR, start recording now, because there's a lot to take in on this discussion, because the Premier is literally coming in to sit down and pour himself a beverage and relax with us.
And it's funny because earlier in the week I tweeted out the fact that the Premier was going to be on. I said, I wonder what kind of chips John Horgan likes. And it prompted a nasty tweet from one of our, Twitter followers. So let's have a look at the tweet from Wendy. Oh, tough-hitting questions. What kind of chips does John Horgan like? Wendy, chill out just a little bit, because we're going to ask the Premier some important questions about healthcare and what it's going to do about gas prices.
Wendy, if you want to be on the show, just say so. If you want to be on you don't need mean tweets are not necessary. Just be, you can be on the, thank you for pointing that out. Trust us, we're going deep with the Premier, all right? We
did get a ton of tweets about last week's show when we were talking about whether or not, and this was based on an influencer on Twitter's viral tweet about the fact that people who didn't want to have children were selfish. So we had a discussion and bam, 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 we got tweets and response like crazy. Here's just one of them saying, basically Deirdre's right. We all have a choice. Don't judge people, right?
I agree with
We weren't
that.
trying to judge people.
No, we were having a real authentic conversation. And Lynda Steele, we don't always agree on stuff.
No.
And what I got feedback-wise from people is like, I love that you guys come from two different places, can clash over something and still fully respect each other and be like, hey girl, meet you here on Thursdays at 8.
Because there was a tweet that resonated in particular with you, this one.
Laura said, don't forget there are a lot of couples childless, not by choice. If IVF was publicly funded, the fertility rate could be moved up. And no, people who choose not to have children are not selfish. They have a right to their choice for a plethora of reasons. And I went through IVF. I'm very open about that. And when you get married, and the initial question is, so when are you having babies? And in your head, you're like, oh, I just had my 3rd miscarriage.
Trying.
You know, it's hard. It's hard. And I'm very lucky. I got my miracle. But there are people who should not be judging others on their status when it comes to parenting. And that was really the end of our conversation.
This was one last tweet, and this one kind of resonated with me because we made a choice not to.
Right.
And Jeff was saying, like, some people might think this is courageous because the world, climate change, all kinds of issues. He said he has 3 children, and they're facing all kinds of problems, challenges right now. So let's not be nasty. Let's not judge. That was the whole point of that segment.
Let's listen to one another. Let's
so
talk
much.
and listen, right? And I really appreciate all of the perspectives that came into play in that jumping off point.
We have to listen tomorrow because it's a special day.
I love your orange. I love it. It would have been a bit much if we both wore it today on this Thursday, but this is what I'm going to be wearing tomorrow. This is from Kamloops. I got it. Every Child Matters. The Kamloops to Shewepnik, the place that so many of us really got a true sense of the level of the pain and the need to have this the second only holiday for the Day for Truth and Reconciliation, a day for listening. It's really a time to have that conversation. Listen, not just on one day, but work it into our lives. Listen to the young people too, right? Listen to how this has impacted the lives of First Nations, Indigenous, Métis, and Inuit people, and be respectful of the stories. Listen.
Also, listen to this, because Prostate BC, the Prostate Cancer Foundation of BC has come out with this really great campaign to encourage guys to get a prostate exam.
Great?
First of all, listen, have a look at the little video.
Okay.
It's a cheeky campaign. Look at this. 1/3 of guys say they don't want to take their underwear off to get a prostate exam. Right. So they've come up with this cheeky campaign that has a special pair of undies. The deal is that prostate cancer is the #1 most diagnosed cancer for men. But if it's diagnosed early, it's also pretty much 100% survivable. So we do have an actual pair of the undies that they're giving away, modeled by Handsome Brad. So you too can get a pair of these delightful.
Look at the joy.
Let
Look
us
at the
see
joy.
back.
The
he said I'm
pride.
allowed to touch his bum. So there's an exit or an access point here for the prostate exam.
This is golden TV
And all you
time,
have to
guys.
do if you want a pair of these cool tidy whities is to go on to Prostate BC's Instagram or any of their messaging and say, you've booked a prostate cancer exam, and that's all you have to do. And I think Brad looked pretty good. Thank you.
He
so
did.
much,
Thank you. Well done, Brad. Well done, Brad. Next
I keep
job,
saying it
Price
wrong.
is Right.
Prostate Cancer Foundation of BC.
And
I think it's brilliant.
We'll have more on this discussion coming up next week on the show. Bit of an announcement coming up. I can't go too deep into it, but
Stay tuned.
Guys,
All right.
we're going to help you out.
One other thing I want to talk about. There have been dog nappings in
Oh,
my
God.
hood in Yaletown and downtown Vancouver, which is crazy. There was another one today. There was a woman who lost her shelter border collie. Someone yanked it from a store, took off. Somebody found it on SkyTrain. And this similar thing happened to a cute little pooch at a Yaletown coffee shop. That's little Mike. And this woman, she knew that Mike was not lost. He was part of the coffee shop. She picked him up and took off. The neighborhood
From the
rallied.
coffee shop?
Yeah. The neighborhood rallied and put out surveillance video and posters, and they got Mike back. And you know what? This little pupper, he's back in the coffee shop, is called Cuckoo's in Yaletown. And what he does is he walks around to each table and he'll sit and wait until you scratch his little head, and then he'll move to the next table and you scratch his head, and then he moves to the
We
next.
got to get her a dog, guys. Guys, we just gotta get.
It's
Honestly,
not
I
me.
brought a table today. I got a surprise for you, Lynda. Got a little surprise for you. Just needed a table to put some stuff on. Found a table after going to all the Winners, the Home Sense, the Yisk, all of it. No, I got a surprise, and she goes, "Is it a dog?" Hey, we need to find Lynda a dog.
Wait.
Letter
the
writing
problem is,
campaign for Norm.
we need to convince my husband Norm, who, loves dogs, but also is thinking, now is not the right time.
It's the right
what is
time.
the right time to
Right
have a
now.
dog?
Right now.
Because my friend Jody here is the dog whisperer, and if the dog is problematic, we can send our little pupper off to Jody's house, and
I will
she
do it.
can make sure that he gets in a pack mentality. You're like Caesar Milan.
I am. I've walked with Caesar Milan.
Have you?
I have indeed.
There you
I
go.
have, and I would, and I will. And Norm, I know you're watching. You wouldn't miss Steele and Vance. I will help you with your dog, and think of how happy Lynda would be. Dogs are not presents, though. Pets are not
birthday is-
presents, but
well,
we
I
will.
was just about to say my birthday is Christmas. Anyway.
I'll take you shopping at the shelter. We gotta go.
Still ahead on Steele and Vance, the man who wants to be BC's next premier is promising some really radical new housing affordability measures. We're going to dig into that when we come back.